back, and we're on the Marketer of the Day podcast with Amy Schoen. That's Schoen. Amy is a certified professional life coach. That's a CPCC through the Coaches Training Institute. She has a passion around helping singles and couples create loving and sustaining life partnerships. And she has an excellent book here called Get It Right This Time, where it's a quick read and there's a lot of cool stuff. The one thing that really stood out to me here, Amy, is you talk about how there's like an entrepreneurial mindset we apply to business, but hey, if you applied it to dating, especially if you're on the next marriage or post-divorce, and you say, well, I want to get it right last time, maybe before it came out of convenience or came out of inertia, and you're like, hey, this time I'll learn from my mistakes, I'll be more intentional. It's a fun read, it's a lot of great advice. But anyway, focusing on you, how are you? What's your current focus and passion?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's great to be here, Robert. Yeah, what am I focus and passion? Well, I still am like helping what I call seriously searching singles to find their true love partners. Um, I work mostly with individuals who are either searching for love or in a relationship and not quite sure, is this the right one? And so I have a process, a 3-step process that's been serving my clients for over 20 years, where we really kind of look at how to, what do we need to be happy in ourselves, that bigger fulfillment and life vision. And I'm a life coach by training, so I like to take a holistic view of people's lives and see what they want for their life first, because the goals have to match up. You can meet somebody and there can be a lot of attraction there, but if you are going in one direction and they're going in the another direction, it's not going to sustain. So we're looking for people who have the same goals. That's the number one thing, that they share the same values, relationship values. And also there are things that, I need in a relationship. I'm not going to be able to tolerate this. And we call it the must-haves and would like to haves. And it's always fun to play with those because sometimes people come up with things and say, well, this is a must-have. And then they meet the right person and there's one thing, that's on the other like deal breaker list. And they're like, well, I think I can handle this. So it's really interesting. There's never a dull moment.
Yeah, it seems like there's a certain amount of flexibility. So you say there's goals, values, and needs. And when I was reading this book, I just kind of had like a visual of like, say there's like a river and you have like the rocks in the river, right? And that's like 80% of what you're all about and what you want from your partner. But then there's like the water flowing through where like, well, maybe you say, there's some things I want to maybe compromise on, or I'm a little bit more flexible about. And so it's a great read, and it's a fun list, right? I think sometimes people, they dread jumping back into dating, or they're stressed out about it, or just have all this negative self-talk. And it's kind of fun reading about some of this. You talk about like, think about doing like a makeover of some kind, or when you meet someone, you say, well, how does it match up with the location where we want to live, right? Do I want to live in a
Well,
condo with the other person to
I
fix her up, or things like that? Yeah.
exactly. Well, I've had people in their backyard, and I have people who have been like across the ocean. I had a Washington, D.C. Australian relationship, and this was during the pandemic. And they kept it going. And he worked with matchmakers for 9 years, and then he found me, and he met his wife within 2 or 3 months of working with me. And all I did is tweak his profile. So I really online dating is really one of the big things I work with my clients around. 80% of my successfully coupled clients met through online dating. It's not the only thing, but it can be very targeted if you know how to work the online dating sites. Because of course you have to there's a lot of weeding out. And you have to
Oh yeah.
watch out for scammers. Scammers are very big right now. But there are very telltale signs, and most of my clients are very intelligent people. And so, they can, we can ferret them out, and all that. So, and my clients are all ages, from 27 to 77. I had a 77-year-old guy who wanted to get married again, and, he's married. And I've even had 80-year-olds coming in my door now.
Amazing. So it is possible, and we don't have to be limited to luck or fate or our own social circle. And I'm glad you brought up online dating, because I resisted it when it first happened. And then 20 years ago, I did it, but I kind of kept it secret because it was more taboo back then, and I got a 6-year relationship out of that. And then I did it again 10 years ago, and I got a 10-year relationship out of that, got a marriage out of that. And now it seems to be more mainstream, right? Now it seems to be where all the kids go, and it's more accepted. And so when someone comes to you, what's their current setting? Are they on the online dating? Are they
Well,
resisting it? Like,
sometimes they
where's the
are,
problem? Yeah.
or sometimes they're not. Some of them are scared. Like last night, I did a class, and the woman's like, "Well, I'm just getting back out in there. I'm not online yet, or I've tried it a little bit and it's not working for me." So I have some people who are like scared to put their toe in the water, and other people who are doing it, but they just don't have a process and they don't know what they're really doing. And and so, I again really recognizing the right person. So when my clients go through that clarify is the first step, and then where to connect with people, and then create the relationships that they want as the third step. So when they're going in into the connect step, then it's really like taking their values and their goals and their interests, and making sure that it's coming through in their profile, because I believe what you put out is what you attract. And also making sure the pictures are good. I was in the image consulting business at one time in my life, so I have past lives. I'm a serial entrepreneur. So using those skills to help them with their photos and making sure the right photos are out there that's reflecting their personality. And it's, again, people make quick judgments based on what they see. What are they going to do? Look at the pictures first, and then if they like what they see, then they'll read. And, my clients are motivated to find a serious relationship. So they are going to read the profile. So if there's not much there, they're going to like, well, this person's not serious. They're not putting enough effort into it. So you can tell somebody who's putting effort into this process.
And that's a great reframe. That it's easy to say, well, why should I go to all this effort? Are people so superficial? And you're saying, well, people are busy. They might be flipping through hundreds of profiles. And in marketing, there's a thing called the bucket brigade, isn't there? There's like, well, you have a headline, and that gets you to read the next thing, and that gets you the next thing. And so if you think about that with your dating profile, you're saying have a recent picture, have a good picture, and then if they like that, then they will read. And something else I liked about your book was you said something in here about like there's all the strategy and adjusting and knowing your goals, but there's also a matter of like putting in the time, right? Putting in certain number of hours per week on with the online dating, with the messaging and your
Right.
profile, and getting
So
yourself out there in general.
yeah, so I ask people what their priorities are. I love to see it. And is you like dating's on the last on their to-do list. And you usually we know the effort we put into where we put our attention and energy, that's where we get the energy, that's where we see the forward movement. Just like if you wanted to lose weight, you have to focus on it. You have to make it a priority, you have to find a plan that's going to work for you, and you need accountability and support. And that's what I do as a coach. So I have a little blog post about how I lost 35 pounds. And then it's the same approach to finding true love. But often my clients meet people within like 6 months of working with me. I mean, I can't tell you how many people. And I almost don't believe it, but it does work. And this has been going on for 20 years. I have enough, let's say, social proof to back me up now. So,
Yeah,
and to the point, yeah,
well, they say what you focus on grows, right? If you plant a garden and you leave it to rot for 6 months, it won't go anywhere. But if you focus on your finances, focus on your weight loss, focus on your dating, you put in the time, you figure out where you're at, it's this kind of daily effort, then you get the habit built in. It ends up being like a subconscious thing. It becomes something that you take seriously, and then you get some kind of results out of it. And so, why do you think that these results happen so quickly? Because we're in this society where we like the instant gratification. So why do you think with your approach it happens in months, not years?
so they know what to look for. They know they're getting greater clarity about who this person needs to be, and they also I teach them what to look for in the Motivated to Marry Dating Secrets program. We talk about people who have the behaviors of being seriously searching. And so if we really look at how do you want to be treated, And how do you want the relationship to unfold? And what do you want the love story to be about, right? And so if it kind of is not starting and the person's not really coming to the plate, he's not motivated or she's not motivated, or she's got something, especially in the little older age range, they got kids, they got they're involved maybe with grandchildren. If they have grandchildren, they have health issues. So those are the external roadblocks. So it's really about, are you making space for this in your life? I mean, I hired a feng shui person to help me, and she came into my house. She goes, "You have no room space in your house for a man." And we cleared out a closet. So, and then I met my husband. It's kind of like, ask the universe. You gotta push your luck in a sense. And like anything, when people put their energy, when they invest in themselves, things happen. And so, and even improvements. So sometimes things don't happen overnight. I have clients it took 2 years, or a little longer. But they kept working on themselves. And as a life coach, I was supporting them in all areas of their life, not just the dating. So you get a bigger bang for the buck, and especially people who are self-employed. We do talk about your business and the impact of your business on your dating life. And so that is where the entrepreneur stuff comes, is like, I've been a serial entrepreneur since the age of like late 20s. So I've lived it. I know what I had to do in order to, allow love to come into my life. And I met my husband when I was 41, my now husband, and we got married at 42. So I was motivated to
Wow.
marry. I was motivated to have a family.
Well, nice. And I love that overlap in the mindset of the entrepreneur kind of thing of like getting outside your comfort zone and having this awareness that, well, the man or woman, they're not just going to wander in your house, right? You have to kind of improve other aspects of your life, and they won't improve your life for you, right? It's up to you to build your social network and to lose weight and to do these activities. And you talk about like looking into like volunteering if that's the kind of thing you want to do. And I like how early on in the book there's like this questionnaire of like what's your attitude on dating, or like have you done research into dating, and you read like through this questionnaire, and it's like just that alone kind of tells you, well, how ready are you, right? Are you not at all? Are you in the middle? Or are you kind of properly refined and aligned to do this? And so it's exciting hearing from you about what's possible and what can be done. And you shared a few little stories in aggregate here, but as far as like, is there a really juicy success story of yours of someone who maybe they came to you and they weren't really sure about a plan and you kind of put them on track? Anything like that come to mind as far as a good success story?
Oh wow, I got so many. Yeah, let's yeah, I had a woman who was like in her 50s with two kids in New York. She actually was an entrepreneur. She had more than one business. She was, not having luck meeting the right person. She was attractive, successful. I tend to work with people like that. And I just helped her reframe. I mean, she did have a lot of little gremlins, like who would want me? And I had to kind of help her feel more confident in herself and really focus on what she did have. And I helped her with her profile, and she met this perfect man. I couldn't believe it. And he was an attorney, and she was Italian, and he was Italian, and she was into food, and he was into food, and he ended up helping her with her business. I mean, because it was just amazing. And then he moved in, with her eventually after a couple of months. And last I heard, they were like going off to Italy for a month in the summer to renting a place and with the kids, and his kids are already launched, and just like she didn't think it was possible. And it's just some serendipity. I mean, you put the energy into it, you kind of allow the process to unfold, you trust your coach, and good things can happen.
Well, I love hearing about that, about the magic and the possibilities. And once you get on the other side of all this work, right? Because you have to like fix up your profile and put in this time, but then the payoff, it sounds great. And so with online dating and the profiles, especially, there's an opportunity for some humor, isn't there? Because like sometimes you like even I've seen or heard some things, right? I've heard about the man like puts the pictures of his kids on the profile. Or I dated a lady once where she said the man lied about his height by a foot. He was a foot shorter. It's
How about age?
like, oh
I heard
yeah,
a story
10,
where the
10
guy said he
years.
was
Yeah.
70 and he was 90.
Oh no. I mean, like
So there's
at least
definitely,
make it a little
there are
less.
definitely
Yeah.
strategies to, now with the video chatting and stuff like that, that's a big thing is to get on to video before you meet somebody. And then there are ways to get, and that's also, is somebody going to be willing if you say, I feel more comfortable if I meet you, if I can meet you by video. And if they're not willing to, then what does that say about them? They're either a scammer or there's something else going. Like one of my clients said the guy, they did not meet by video, and she showed up and he was 300 pounds
Oh.
and his picture was not accurate. So today, so with the video and the Zoom, and I know, you need to have a decent background and you have to make sure you put makeup on if you're ladies, and the guys have to make sure they're well groomed, and they're not wearing one of those t-shirts, that just like, yeah. So you do have to make effort, like anything, you want someone else to make effort, then you have to put the effort in.
Yeah, if you want someone else to, then you should. And I have dealt with that too. Of like you meet on the app, but then kind of get things off the app and kind of move things along from the texting and the video in the person. You don't want to jump to that, but you also, there's a flip side, is don't stay on the app. But as far as like some low hanging fruit or something that someone could do now or in the next few weeks, is there something that drives you crazy as far as either the profile or the online dating or the approach? Like what do you see that is just like such an easily fixed but common problem that
Well,
just
easy
drives you
fix is
nuts?
getting better photos, because I look at my clients' photos, and or they're showing me the guys or the women they're meeting, and you're like, what are they thinking? I mean, they got the bathroom selfies. Please, no bathroom selfies. They take a picture of themselves with a car. You don't even know if it's their car. What does that say about how superficial they are? It's like, oh, I have a car. I don't know if that's your car. Um, and so I think the photos, even though it's superficial, it is, like I said, the window into the profile. And also, I always say, put your goals up front. So, I do kind of have a process where we are qualifying people sooner than later, on that. So those are the two things on the online world. But also, on the outside, it's just get out and meet more people. You're just improving your chances, like anything, like business, right? We have to network, we have to get out. And you don't know who knows who. And that person may not be your true love, but they may have a friend or a cousin or somebody, it's happened. So introductions are the second best ways that my clients meet.
I like it. And so it is tough these days as an adult to make adult friends, right? And some people, they join a sport or they go to church, but do you see like a favorite way of socializing more, making more friends as a full-grown adult?
Yeah, well, there's so many ways now with meetup.com is going on and putting your interests and your age group and stuff and seeing what you want to participate in. Not everyone has the time, and it depends on where it is. But there's so many ways to meet people at all ages. And I have a formula called the VIP formula, and it's based on your values and your interests and your passion, based on your personality. So we work on that and say, where are you going to meet people that you're going to connect with? So that's the whole thing, is the connection. And that's really what I teach my clients what to do, is what to connect. Look for the connection. What are you connecting on? And when you get that, then it's not so hard, because you recognize it, and you kind of go with it. And the next step is exclusivity, so that's a whole nother thing. So not only helping my clients, once meet somebody, but then it's the then what. And often I will coach my clients into, either towards engagement, until they're either engaged or close to being engaged. And that's a choice, and how long, of a period do you wait before marriage or going off to the sunset, like moving in together or something like that. So a lot of my boomer clients are not getting married, And so that's a choice. So marriage is a choice. So don't let the motivated to marry thing scare you. It's just a branding. And it's just really about helping people who are seriously searching for their true love partner.
And it seems like it perhaps takes the pain out of this process by taking these deliberate actions, right? By saying, well, where do I want this connection? And connection doesn't mean I'm looking for a clone of myself. I'm saying, like, is there enough overlap for things to be interesting? And I like this idea of like figuring out your goals and values because it helps you, right? Take this inventory, but then it also like simplifies, right? Because we've all been in those relationships where like, why did it even start? Why did it even end? Why is it not
It
going anywhere? And then you
becomes
wonder what happened versus doing it proactively.
So what happens is when you do this process, you look back at your past relationships and you're like, now I know why it didn't work and why it wasn't going to work. And we don't try to do what like a feedback loop and say, okay, now that I know this, okay, I'm going to try to build a better like decision making model in a sense. And so I'm not going to make those mistakes. We can't prevent you from making new mistakes, but there, or not seeing everything.
Yeah.
Yet we do try to get you to see, okay, this is going to work better for me at this time.
Yeah, you hope that you don't make the same mistakes. Like mistakes are a given; it will happen. Just if you're on repeat, then that means that the growth is not happening. So that's a important insight. And so in these last few minutes here, it's just been a lot of fun talking with you and thinking about all the pluses and the minuses. But we've only just met twice at this point, so I don't perhaps know the right ideal question to ask you. So in this conversation we're having here, Amy, is there a question that I should be asking you? I just don't know to ask you.
Hmm. Um, yeah, well, who's the ideal client? The ideal client is somebody who um is into personal growth, wants a better way, is tired of just, I know I hired a coach at 40. I was just keep going around, not meeting the right kind of person. Most of my clients are attractive people. They're smart, intelligent. They've got everything else going for them, but they just can't find love. And so those are the kind of people I love helping. And a lot of them come to me when they're 40, 50, 60, 70. I had a woman who was never married and in her 70s, and she met her life partner. So, it's just very fulfilling work, I have to say, and and people say, Amy, you could do this, I could do that, I could be a business coach, I could be, oh, I have so many kinds of coaches because I have so many talents, but this is my passion.
Nice. You found what you're good at and what gets you fulfilled and just, makes you feel good by helping other people. And I like how you put it there that maybe like these people that come to you, like they're attractive, they have a lot of life figured out, they're motivated, but they just can't seem to get it. And it's similar of like you're trying to lose weight. And if you're trying to lose weight with the diet and the exercise on your own, it just isn't working. You go find a coach to get the problem solved, to get you to cross that bridge. So it's very logical that if someone says, I'm almost there and I don't know what I don't know, I can see the value in them finding you by going to motivatedtomarry.com or contacting you. And so if someone says that, okay, Amy described that ideal client that sounds like me, is motivatedtomarry.com the appropriate place to go? Or where should they take some
That's the
next
best
steps?
place. I have a blog there. You can learn about me. I have a weekly newsletter. You can hang out. You can come and, meet me, learn about me. I do webinars and workshops, and a lot of people start hanging out in my community. And then, if it's the timing for you and you want to talk to me, then there's a way of, setting up a time to have a one-on-one conversations to see if we're a good fit.
Well, you practice what you preach, right? You mentioned a few minutes ago how important it is to increase your numbers, to be hanging around more people. And so that way you're if you're only around a few people, then you have no choice but to like relentlessly pursue. But if you just kind of are a helpful person and you communicate and you find your crowd, then ideally then they pursue you. So it's great to see that. And I'm really grateful that you mailed me your book in the mail and you sent me a handwritten note, and we're just kind of you're doing all the relationship coach, life coach stuff in practice, right? You're moving relationships forward and delivering value. So you said that that website is motivatedtomarry.com to read the blog posts, to join Coach Amy's community, to finally find the lasting and meaningful love you've always imagined. And if you're tired of not having someone special who has your back, tired of being that third wheel, tired of doing everything by yourself, if you're ready for lasting love, motivatedtomarry.com. Coach Amy Schoen, a relationship coach who's helped hundreds of marriage-minded individuals like you find their lifelong mates. And the book we said is Get It Right This Time, How to Find and Keep Your Ideal Romantic Relationship. And before I let you go here, Coach Amy, it's time for the scary part of the show where I try to stump you, I try to put you on the spot, and I ask for a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you in life or in business. So what comes to mind for you for a fun quote or lesson?
Well, I have my own quote, and it's
Ooh,
basically, if you could see your own inner beauty, others will surely see it too.
nice. So it begins with you, right? And that's where the self-growth starts, especially by going to motivatedtomarry.com. You join that community. There's success stories. You can find out about Amy, her excellent book, blog posts. If this is an important missing piece in your life, if you say, hey, I had all these other obligations before, career, kids, grandkids, health, whatever, and now this is something that I'm lonely, or I just want better for myself in my life. It's time to put in the focus, the effort, the strategy, and doing it on your own can be really frustrating and overwhelming. That's why you need Coach Amy at motivatedtomarry.com. And thank you, Miss Amy, for showing up, stopping by, giving us so much to think about and be excited about. I appreciate you being on and delivering some value for us. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Robert. Great to be here.